WDHA's Reconnect with Rockers, and I am so happy to be reconnecting, not only with a rocker that I admire, but a friend. My girl, Janet Gardner, is here. I'm going to say it. You ready? For the first time, I think that I've ever said it. From Gardner James. I love it. I love it.
Oh.
I love it.
Yeah.
So tell me, is Gardner James now, is that the new name? Is that the...
It is. Yes. That is, as long as Justin and I are working together, it will be called Gardner James, and hopefully that'll be for a very long time. So, yeah, new name, well-deserved, well-earned, and overdue.
Yeah, and long overdue. I want to rewind for people, of course, because Gardner James comes from you and your husband, Justin James, who's such a nice guy and such a great, incredibly underrated player, I think. And you guys had this great, when I think of you, I think of like the Marilyn Manson song, The Beautiful People, because you guys are just such a great looking and cool rock and roll couple. And you met in a very rock and roll way. Was it Monsters of Rock Cruise that you guys met on?
No, we were playing, actually, Vixen was opening for Lita Ford.
Okay.
Justin knew the road manager for Lita, so he was backstage, and we just struck up a conversation, and it took a while for us to really connect, not because, we didn't automatically connect, but, we had a long distance thing. He was here in Chicago, I was in Connecticut. And so we became really great friends before anything more than that. So the long distance thing actually helped us in a weird way.
Yeah. And I mean, you've been churning out music. You're on this creative kind of like juggernaut. 2019, which was not that long ago, we got Your Place in the Sun. And it seemed like you guys, from a very organic way, became, because it's hard to decide. Hi, we're a couple and we're getting married. Now, do we want to work together? Do we not want to work together? And it seems like every year or every bit of time that goes by, you guys work together a little bit more, a little bit closer, a little bit more, a little bit closer, until now you've got this really cool project.
Yeah, well, during the lockdown, we really took advantage of that time to really immerse ourselves in creating music. Normally we have a gazillion different distractions, and it was actually kind of nice for us to just be at home, and anytime we wanted or an idea came to us, we could just go lay it down. So we took full advantage of that to actually sort of give us more of an opportunity to stay focused on it. And that's part of the reason it came together so quickly, because we didn't have to drop it and go do other things.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked to our advantage, and we totally enjoyed it.
And the great result is Synergy, which is such a perfect title for it. When I heard the first single, Wounded, it was like everything I love about your voice. And I think the sound is, first of all, it's great for everything that's going on in music today, because you still have that, it's like the familiar but fresh thing that I always talk about. It's that familiar sound where it's rock and roll. It sounds like rock and roll. It sounds like the rock and roll that we grew up on, yet there's this great freshness. I think your vocals stand alone, and Justin's guitar playing on this track is he's like such a great riff master. I was literally blown away when I was watching the video. I was like, oh my God, listen to his playing on this. So I think it's a brilliant first single that you guys are putting out from this. So talk to me a little bit about, I love the video. The video is great. I think it's going to make people feel good too, because I watched the video and I was like, oh, this is what shows were like. And this is what seeing a live band is like. And, so it's just such a perfect, I guess, marriage of everything that we love about music, I think.
Yeah, well, we had to steal some footage from the Australian tour. And oddly enough, Justin had started working on that song before we left for Australia, but we didn't have it finished yet. So we just stole little clips from other songs, and I would slow them down or speed them up and try to make it look like that's what we were playing.
Wow. Oh my God, what a great job. Because I said, you know what? She probably got the band in this performance space and was able to sort of put all that together. And then I saw, of course, you being, kind of melded in with your beautiful face, front and center for the camera. I mean, just always looking amazing no matter what you do. So wow, that's unbelievable how you guys did that. Super fantastic job.
Thank you. Yeah, we couldn't get together, and we thought about guys send us, just things from home playing along with it. But we started looking through the footage from Australia, and it was like, you know what? We can use some of this, and nobody will be the wiser that we're not actually playing that song. And so, we caught a couple of drum fills that were similar to what Richie was playing, so we threw those in there and just kind of, tried to capture our live spirit without actually playing the song. So yeah, it was fun to put together, but it was hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, and let me tell you, you captured the live spirit, because I never would have known. I was like, where did they go that they did this tune? And the band is fantastic.
We were not breaking rules. We were, we were.
No, you guys were fantastic. I love the band. The band is just great. I mean, these guys playing with you guys for a while, it's just so good. Tell me a little bit about the guys in your band.
Well, we have a great chemistry. Everyone has like a quirky but different sense of humor, and you go through a lot on the road, and you have to have that. So not only are they incredibly talented and so professional and super good people, they're funny. So so we have a good time, and that's what it's all about at this point in our lives. That's why we do it, because we enjoy each other. We enjoy traveling together and spending time together and being on stage together. They're Richie and Anthony, and of course Justin. They're great.
Yeah, the synergy, no pun intended, with the band is incredible. And talk to me about, you just said at this point in our lives, talk to me about making your own rules, a little bit. You seem to be an artist, as a lot are now, that is really taking advantage of the fact that you can kind of do things kind of on your own time frame. I mean, you had a record out last year, right before the summer. I guess it was June, that we got Your Place in the Sun, and now you've churned, this record out. You seem so happy with. And so we talked a little bit. You did our virtual happy hour at WDHA when you guys were in the middle of putting this together. And you were like, man, we are working and we just feel so good about the music that we're making. So tell me a little bit about a sense of freedom that you probably feel as an artist.
Yeah, it's been really great to be able to, I'm one of those people that it took me a long time in my life to learn how to say no. And I didn't want to disappoint people ever. And I was always sort of biting my tongue a lot when I would have a certain feeling about something. And at this point in my life, I don't do that anymore. And it's not like I'm being selfish, because I'm not. I still love and care about the same people and things that I always have. But it's nice to once in a while be able to say, no, that really doesn't work for us. And it's refreshing, and it is very liberating to just be able to kind of do what you want when it works for you and when it works for your family and the other things that are important in your life. So it's beautiful that we're able to do music and we're able to devote quite a bit of time to it, but still be able to manage everything else in our lives. And that's key. And it's something I never had before. I was either 100% doing music and everything else sort of fell by the wayside, or I was, focused on family and other things. And then I had no music in my life. Mm-hmm. So we've managed to achieve a balance that previously I didn't know was possible. So yeah, it's good. We're at a very good place in our lives.
And I think sometimes too, when you're a lady in a male-dominated business, you don't want to say no, because you feel like, you know what, is somebody going to think I'm difficult, or is somebody going to think that I'm not as committed as the guys are? And you don't, as you move ahead and on and on and on, you realize that no, it's okay to say no, because they're saying no too to things that they maybe don't think are right for them at the time. So it does take some time to be able to get on that path. And yeah.
I heard a quote the other day, and I can't remember exactly what it was. It was so good. It was something about, I know so many women who went to their grave with so many great ideas. And that really hit home with me, because it's true. If you don't open yourself up, and if you don't sort of not be too pushy, but push your own agenda and your own ideas, you're going to go to your grave with regrets. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I just feel really good about sort of pursuing things that work for my life and for my family's life and the people that I care about.
And I've known you for, not a long period of time, but a couple of years. And you're somebody who just puts everything into what you do. When you wanted to do, your solo career, you were like, listen, I want to do a solo career. I'm going to be, I remember you told me too, when you came by for Your Place in the Sun, you were like, no, I've got a lot of tunes and I'm not going to wait long periods of time to put out music. You left Vixen and you put that in its proper place. And, you just gave your all to this next sort of phase for you. When did you know that you guys two were going to be a great songwriting team? Songwriting, I talk to people about songwriting a lot. It's something that you may want to do, but you may not always be good at it. When did you guys know that you had this chemistry to be songwriters together?
Well, we had been married for about 6 months, and, I was doing my Vixen thing and Justin had his own projects. And we never really talked about it, and I think we were a little bit nervous about it. But one day Justin was just playing something on guitar, and it moved me and motivated me. It inspired me. So I kind of snuck downstairs and said, what is that you're playing? He goes, I'm just messing around with this riff. And so I said, well, keep playing it. And then I started humming some things. And from there on, we just took off. We didn't stop and haven't stopped since. So I think the fact that we just didn't force it and we didn't make any big plans, we just let it happen and just went with it. I think that really eased both of our minds about it, of the possibilities of like, oh, well, what if we don't have that kind of chemistry? What if we only have, the other kind of chemistry, but musically we don't match up? And we just didn't think about it. And I think that helped us just kind of ease our way into it with no expectations.
Yeah. I want to talk about the first single, which is Wounded. It's got a little bit of everything in it. It's got your strength. It does have a vulnerability. It has amazing energy. There's an energy to it. So talk to me a little bit about Wounded and what it's about and who it's about.
Well, you talk about that it has an energy to it, and that definitely came from Justin. He has an energy to his guitar playing that I don't have as a guitar player. I'm more of a laid-back, bluesy kind of guitarist. So those really pumping, energetic riffs are coming from Justin. And he came up with that riff, and then he asked me, he goes, do you think it's too busy? And I'm like, no, I'll find a way to sing around it and make it work together. So we came up with the chorus first and then went back and did the rest of the song. And we just kind of wanted to sort of portray the strength of, you can knock me down, but I'm not going to fall kind of thing. I'm not going to kneel at your feet. So it has everything in it that I like.
Yeah.
As a person, there is a vulnerability that, hey, none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. We all fall down. But you got to believe in yourself and get back up and keep going. And that's kind of where it came from.
And I love, the last line of the song just sort of brings it all home, and it's your vocal, that great vocal. And when I first heard it, every time I hear something that you do, I just go, there's nobody that's ever going to be like, who's singing this song? Your vocals are so synonymous with you. They're so recognizable to me now. And I don't know if because you're such a humble, nice lady, great lady. I don't know if you realize the impact that you had as a female in music when when the band first came out, and the contributions that you've made and the doors that you've kicked open for so many young performers. I was talking to someone and I'm just going, who was I talking to? And Janet's name came up and I said, oh, I know Janet Gardner. She's such a great lady. She helps us out with, animal causes and stuff. And the person, I'm trying to think if it was like Lizzie Hale. I can't remember, but somebody, and they were just like, oh my God, Janet Gardner. Like I would totally be completely like starstruck. Like you've made such an impression on so many performers that are out there today. And I don't know if you realize the impact you've had.
Well, it's really nice of you to say that, but of course not. I mean, I'm just a person who gets up and I love music. I love to sing. I'm happy to have the opportunity to do it and write songs and do what I love to do. But as far as that goes, no, I mean, there's so many amazing artists out there that, I would never like put myself in any sort of like, yeah, I had a lot of influence on people or, I definitely don't feel that way, but it's really nice to hear that once in a while if somebody says, oh, you really influenced me. I'm in a band now and I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't seen Vixen or heard you sing. And if somebody says something like that, that's incredible. And if somebody says, oh, your songs, your music have helped me through something difficult in my life, that's amazing to hear that kind of stuff. But, you do it just because you love it, and all that stuff is just great on top of it.
I view you as somebody who, when people saw you do it, felt like they could do it too. Because, to do it and to want to feel like you want to do it, the person who does it before you has to get the attention, and you guys did. And I think any groundbreaking artist that opened up the door, whether it was having, your videos played all the time on MTV or having, an exorbitant amount of radio airplay at the time when it was just dominated by nothing but testosterone and
yeah.
Testosterone and testicles, like that's what it was. It wasn't, very, very hard. And no pun intended. So, to see the impact that, you and the band made, I think was something that women were like, you know what, I can do this too. And that was a whole generation of young gals at that time that are now making music. So I have to bring that up to you because I just want to make sure that and I know that you're not thinking about that, but I just want to make sure that that being a powerful woman at that time led us to where we are now. And I think we have a very healthy time with some great young women in music that are, kicking ass and taking names.
Absolutely. And doing it on their own terms, which is amazing to see for me. I'm like, look at those women, carrying that banner for rock and roll, even though they probably may be much more successful as a pop star or, an easier road and easier path.
Absolutely.
Choosing to do it their own way. And I think that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. There's a path of least resistance, to be an American Idol pop star type of person where you're a little more homogenized and somebody takes over your career. Or you could be a lady who doesn't mind getting your cookies on the tour bus with, a group of guys and being the leader of your band, and being the leader of your band. So what has lockdown shown you about yourself, Janet, where you're like, I can't believe that I'm not doing this and I'm doing that, or I can't believe that I'm happy doing that, which I never did it before and I never thought I would be?
I don't know. It was an opportunity for us to spend more time with family that we didn't get to have before. And even though the kids were going crazy and driving us nuts because they were bored, it forced us all to spend more time together. And I think that was very valuable. And I also think maybe just don't take for granted what you have, sort of live your life appreciating every moment of it. I love to play live. And now that we can't, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal. And there's times you're out there and it's hard and you're on a plane and you're uncomfortable and you're like, ew, I wish I was at home. But then it just made me kind of realize how, what a privilege it is to go tour and play live shows for people and what a great thing it is. So it kind of taught me that, but also, you know, what's really important is at the end of the day that you have your family and your loved ones are safe.
Yeah. Yeah. Taking stock in the things that you don't necessarily always take stock in. I want people to be able to find Synergy. Now, I know that people will be able to pick it up on Amazon.
Yeah.
You know, and I still love the feel of something. Don't get me wrong. I know everybody downloads stuff and like, I get that and stuff. I still like when I see people holding a CD or, you know, I see some people on your socials that have pre-ordered and they're like all excited and everything. So I still love to hold something. So I'm waiting for John to send me my hold copy of Synergy, because I still want to hold it. I still want, you know, I need the little square. But tell me how everybody can get it, where they can go and how everybody can get it.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely order it on Amazon. As far as like going to a store, there are a few stores that actually carry it, but for the most, you'll have to order it you can order from Target or Walmart, or, you know, if you want a physical CD, Amazon's your best bet, but I think you can get it at other outlets. Yeah, and if you, of course, if you want to download it, you can get it on any of the download sites, iTunes, whatever. It's on, you know, it'll be on Spotify. And if you can't beat them, join them. And yeah, there's stuff on YouTube, so it's going to be pretty available anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can always go to janetgardnermusic.com and it'll take you wherever.
And I want people to follow you on social media too. You know, your Facebook page is always really super active. You guys are always posting updates for the fans, very interactive with your fans too, which I think is great. You know, social media is definitely, especially now, been a way for people to be able to connect, you know, with the artists that they love. That's why we do Reconnect with Rockers, because people were like, well, how are we going to hear from artists and see artists? So they always came to the studio or came out to events, and we're like, no, we're still going to figure out a way to be able to do it until we can do it live again. So you guys are always very active on social media.
Yeah, it's just that, you know, we have a fan page. It's just, if you look up Janet Gardner page, it'll take you to it. And then Justin and I both have personal pages too that has maybe a little more family stuff and stuff like that. So you can do that. We're on Instagram, Twitter occasionally. We're not big tweeters, but once in a while we're on there too.
Yeah, I'm not tweeting this. I can't, you know what it is? I'd love to be able to do it all, but I just can't do it all. So I'm doing a little more on the Instagram now, a little less on the Twitter, and on Facebook, because I know a lot of our listeners are very active Facebook and Instagram users. So I'm doing a little more of those things now too. But I haven't been, I got to get back on the tweeting again, because that's sort of fallen by the wayside for me, because it's just too much. Like, it's just so much that you just can't do it all.
I know. And the kids, they're like on TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram and all these different things. I'm like, how do you even keep track of all that?
Crazy. I know. Crazy. And I'm always so happy to see you. I have to ask you though, you got to give me one tip, just one tip on how you are such a timeless vocalist and beauty. What do you do to keep yourself so it's timeless with you? Whenever I see you, I always feel like I'm seeing you. You're just timeless. It's like a portrait of Dorian Gray.
No, see, now that's how I feel about you.
No.
I need tips from you.
No, my darling. Whenever I see you, whether you come out, and you've done so much for us too, anything that we need for animal causes and helping our animal shelters, you have been there, you know, for us. We had our Vixen dog, our Janet Gardner Pomeranian. That was a beautiful dog, by the way, that was playing the part of Janet Gardner. So when people are always like, I think my dog looks just like you, I always take that as such a compliment. I'm like, oh, I love this dog. I've been German Shepherds, Pit Bulls, and Shih Tzus. So I love that. But that little Vixen dog, she was just incredible. But you've always been so generous with your time to help us out, help us get dogs adopted, and spread the word about adoption. How is Miss Jazzy, by the way?
Miss Jazzy she has been loving the lockdown, because
they love it.
Got like double walks every day, lots of belly rubs, lots of attention. So she's spoiled rotten from the lockdown, but yeah, she's great. We couldn't ask for a better companion.
Yeah, mine too. Sometimes they look at me though as if to say, like, don't you have somewhere you need to be? I feel like sometimes now I'm invading their space where they're just, because sometimes they'll be like, hey, what are you guys doing? I'm having cocktails with them. I mean, it's getting a little out of control right now these days. I'm sort of like, just going home to be with my dogs. The dogs on lockdown has taken on a whole new life of its own, we really do put a lot on them at times. I think there are therapists, there are buddies, there are drinking pals, there are coworkers, there are confidants, everything.
Yep, the shoulder to cry on.
There's no doubt about that. I always say they're a little Prozac with fur. I am so happy to connect with you. It's always such a pleasure to be around you. I adore you. I think you're one of the greatest ladies, not only in rock, but out of rock. You're such a talent, and you've got such a generous heart and spirit. So I'm super, super excited about this record. Synergy is the Gardner James collection. I always have to remember that because I always want to be like Janet Gardner. It's Gardner James. Whenever you and Justin work together, I love, love, love it. And I want everybody to pick it up because I've said, if there's one thing that gets us through tough times, it's listening to music. It's feeling that sense of normalcy for us that we know for the rock community has always been that sense of rocking out and just disappearing into a great rock song for 3.5 minutes.
Yep. And that never changes. Even as a musician, there's nothing better for me and nothing that gets me motivated more than putting on a song that I love by one of my favorite artists. Still works to this day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So congratulations on the new collection. And I can't wait till we get to see each other in person.
Yeah.
We're able to give the hug, and we're able to just see each other in person. You come back to the studio, you play, we chat, we talk, we do some kind of a show, we do something for listeners. That will happen. That will definitely happen.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yay. And say hi to Justin too for us. He just was a wizard on this record, and he needs to get the credit that he deserves.
Well, I'll tell him, and he'll be happy you said that.
Yay.
Yay. Thanks,
Janet Gardner, I love you, my sister. Thank you so much.
Take care.
DHA's Reconnect with Rockers is powered by Advantage Contracting and by Karis Lock Company.